I'll let you know when we hit the screen.
You got it.
Okay, guys, we are live.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
I love that flag. Holy shit, look at that flag. Beautiful.
Like my flag, I take my flag everywhere I go.
Do you remember the movie years ago? It was real old. I'm showing my age. It was called Joe. It was like Joe Boyle. Susan Sarandon was in it. She was like a teenager. He was always behind a flag, but it was a crazy movie.
You look like you're in a bunker somewhere.
I am.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Police Off the Cuff. My name is Mark DeMayo. I'm here with my co-host. His name is Bill Cannon, and we cover everything involving law enforcement. We keep it lighthearted and funny. Thank you for joining us. We have a great guest tonight. He's a retired member of the NYPD. He's a fellow task force alum. We're going to talk about that. I was in the task force for a number of years. More than anything else, though, he's running for New York City mayor. And we want to welcome Bill Pepitone. What's up, Bill?
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, gentlemen. How's everything?
You know, I'm sorry on the flyer. I called you Bill, and then in the middle I said Joe Pepitone.
That's fine. My mother's still.
You are related to the former great Yankee Joe Pepitone, right?
Yes, Joe was my uncle.
You know, he had those remember the patrol guy that says you can't have gross mutton chops? He had those with the Yankees, right?
Yes, he did. I think he still does, as a matter of fact.
How old is he now?
He is pushing 80.
Holy shit.
Yeah, time flies.
Nice to hear he's still alive, man.
Yes, he's doing well.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, he was coming up, I guess, at the tail end of all the other ones, Mickey Mantle and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, he came up in 62, and Mantle was starting to slow down a little bit. And Mickey's days ended, I think, in 68. So he played a few years with him.
That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool.
Mickey probably played a few years too long, too, right?
Right. I think that's one of his regrets. I know he said many times he's not a career 300 hitter, and it's probably because his last 3 or 4 years, his average was so low that it brought him down under 300. I know he regretted that for a while. Yeah,
the year he stayed, the next year he was 302. If he would have just quit, he would have been 302.
Right.
It's a horrible year. His last year, it brought it down to whatever 280 something. You know.
Yeah, I know that bothered him.
Yeah, I was covering. I was in one of these Facebook conversations with a bunch of people about who was better, Bo Jackson or Deion Sanders as a two sports guy.
Okay.
So I said Bo, because I grew up during that time, and I remember how explosive he was.
He was.
Deion was on the Indians. He won the World Series with the Indians, but nobody ever stopped what they were doing to watch Deion hit. When Bo Jackson got up to the plate, that was that moment where it's one of those hitters you stop and you're gonna watch. No matter what you're doing, you stop, you watch him hit, and then you go back to what you were doing.
Oh, absolutely.
And same thing in football. I mean,
yeah. Oh, if he could have stayed healthy in either sport, there's no telling what he could have.
Yeah, the hip, man, breaking that bat over his knee wasn't a good idea.
Oh, bad idea.
Hip out.
Bad idea.
One of the greatest football plays he had was when he bowled over that linebacker that was a big hot dog from Oklahoma. What was his name?
Brian Boswell.
Yeah, when he bowled him over, that was worth the price of admission, you know?
Yeah.
What a hot dog that guy was, right?
Yeah. He sold himself. He branded himself.
Oh, he loved himself, that guy, yeah.
Well, he branded himself. I mean, he when you think about pioneers, they all do that now.
I should have did that on the police department.
Were you an athlete growing up, Bill?
I tried. I tried baseball. I found out I couldn't hit curveballs, so that was about it.
When did you find out?
Pretty early on, I found out. Around high school age, I realized I can't hit curveballs, and I wasn't too good at hitting fastballs either. I figured, let me try something else.
Well, I was a great knuckleball hitter.
Right, exactly. That's the only thing.
You know how when the batters get up, they go like this. They're asking for a second so they can get in the batter's box. I used to go like this, so you get slow down. You don't have to throw so hard for me. Easy. So, were they excited, your family, when you decided to become a cop?
Well, my father was a cop for 2 years. He came on in 73, and then he went through the layoffs in 75. We went down to Florida. He was a Broward County sheriff for a little while before fire department up here in New York called him back, and he did 27 years with the FD. My uncle was a detective, street crime, career criminals. So it's been in our family. It's been in our blood. So they kind of expected I was going to go that route.
You know, I had heard I was in street crime for just 1 year, but I had heard your relative's name come up in street crime.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
I mean, I just heard the name Pepitone because, you know, obviously the Yankee, and then now you could be famous. You could be a mayor one day.
I could be the mayor, exactly. That tops them all.
That's right. You know, it doesn't matter what your batting average is.
That's right.
You got to do better than this clown that's in there now, right?
He is an absolute nightmare. What he's done to the city, it's just a disgrace.
Yeah, so I guess you'd be running as a Republican, right?
Yes, I'm running as a Republican conservative.
All right. You know,
right now, only Republican that's running.
It's amazing, right? You figure it would be such an easy one to just jump in there, and if you had a name for yourself already here. Yeah,
I don't know. That's not really my concern. I know why I want to do it. I know that we can do it. We can do a great job, and we're just pushing forward.
So tell us about well, let's go to the job a little bit. I just want to talk about your the days. How long were you in the task force?
I was in the task force for 14 years. I went there in 91 and I left the end of 2004.
All right, so we were there at pretty much the same time. I went to the task force probably 93 because I came out in 92, 6 months FTU. Then I went to the Queens task force.
Oh, nice.
Or as we would call the Queens Marines.
Queens Marine.
Or as we would call RIF, reading is fundamental. That's all we used to do. Everybody used to make fun of us. You'd see a van parked down a block, nobody goes by. Fucking, the lights are off, and all you see is little lights from people's. They had little flashlights so they could read in the van.
Yeah, I was in Brooklyn South for the 14 years, so we crossed paths, I'm sure.
Yeah, we definitely were at a lot of the same. I was reading your bio, some of the stuff that you were at. You were obviously at the Grand Ribby, right?
Yes.
You passed.
Yes.
That was some night. Remember that?
Just every Saturday down there was interesting, to be quite honest.
Well, you know what's funny is that, like, since you're running for mayor right now, what would you do? I mean, they had a wedding for 6,000 people.
Right.
Then the following week, even after that became news, they had another wedding for over 200 people. And they just pretty much do whatever they want. They were padding up a park over there where their kids play. Every day they would come and cut the lock.
Yeah, I know.
I can't help but admire those people. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, you look at it one way. You have to be smart. We have to be safe. We have to, whatever we feel, we have to respect this virus because it is obviously dangerous. But on the other hand, we still have to live, and people still have to run their businesses and still have to earn a living, and we still have to, feed our families and pay our mortgages. So these lockdowns are doing more harm than good, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
What's funny, Bill, is that that whole word rabbi took on meaning in the police department, right?
Very different.
Who's your hook? Who's your rabbi, right?
Very different meaning, absolutely.
You see any commanding officer in Brooklyn that's not kissing the ass of the Sids? Let me know his name.
Well, obviously it's not just with the police department, because right next door to the venue where they were having the 6,000 people wedding, the firehouse is right there, and nobody saw a thing. 6,000 people coming in and out. It's not like a party of 60. There's 6,000 people, and you know how they are. If they're gonna do it, they do it anyway. They're probably dancing in the street or coming in and going out.
Yes.
And it must have been some scene there, and nobody saw a thing.
Well, that happens. Sometimes you can miss 6,000 people. It does happen.
Yeah. Well, also too, if it comes in between, like normally when you're gonna go to sleep, you're gonna miss it.
Right.
The firehouse, when they shut the lights off for the afternoon, for the siesta.
You mean the 2-hour nap after a weightlifting session?
Yeah, and food and eating.
Food.
Well, my father was a fireman. He's probably listening, so I'm gonna.
So we won't be on the fireman. My grandfather was a New York City fire lieutenant, but I still beat on the fireman.
So yeah, so I mean that's a situation. That's a very touchy situation. I envy the mayor who could probably navigate and negotiate that. Um, that's whatever he's doing. This guy is completely wrong. Nobody's listening to him. As a matter of fact, every weekend they're breaking up 3 or 4 parties with hundreds of people in here. We just had something in the Bronx, a fight night, underground fight club.
I heard. Yep.
And they broke that one up with over 200 people, some alcohol. There must have been. It sounds like a fun time. I'm pissed I didn't get the invite for that. I live in the Bronx.
But you know what it is? Nobody respects this man. He doesn't have a plan. He's been unclear from the beginning. He singled out different communities. He's divided the city, as you know. So nobody respects him, and nobody's listening right now.
I don't think he's divided it. I think he's united it, because I see people walking down the street and they're interviewing him, and there's not one person who says, "Yeah, like he's doing a good job."
That's true. He's united the city against him. Absolutely.
United in him. But you know something? Cuomo's not much better either, and
no.
he has that. All he's done is release cop killers from prison.
Yes.
He is instrumental in bail reform, right?
Absolutely.
He's got an attorney general whose whole job is just to go after police.
Right.
So it's that anti-cop philosophy, not just in New York, but it's a national thing. There's an anti-cop posture nationally.
Right. Absolutely. It is. It's across the entire country. And all weak-minded politicians just jump on board because they're pushing their agenda.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things that I heard during the presidential election, which really made me sick, was when Bernie Sanders, referring to the cop that shot the guy, charging him with a knife, he said the cop should be arrested. I mean, he needs to be delivered to Leningrad and given a bowl of borscht,
Right.
That guy doesn't belong in this country if he makes a statement like that.
The statements, second guessing that goes on, the demonization of the police, it's disgraceful.
Yeah.
And
then Biden shoot him in the knee, Biden.
It's a deflection really off of trying to accept responsibility for it. Just blame the police when, they're only following, and which puzzles me too, is the fact that these guys would still make edicts here, like in New York, about what we're going to do on Thanksgiving, and who's going to enforce it, and why would you? If you told me that if I see a large group of people going into a house for Thanksgiving, that I should question them, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to question them about it. Hey, you got an extra plate there for me and my partner?
Right. And it was nice to see. I know in New Jersey, a couple of police chiefs stepped forward and said they absolutely would not use their men to enforce these ridiculous edicts. And New York, I don't know why PD didn't get involved either.
A lot of sheriffs, a lot of upstate sheriffs said they weren't going to do it either.
Right.
So I think there needs to be more of that across the board. I don't understand why these chief of police don't run the department the way they want to. I mean, obviously because they'd be fired, but
right.
What is the one thing you learned in the academy? You obey what type of orders?
Lawful orders.
Lawful orders, exactly. So if the law is unlawful, you don't have to obey it. You don't have to follow it.
Right.
And I think these going into people's houses and enforcing, I think it's unconstitutional.
Right. The other thing is
ordering the police to enforce it.
Right. And the other thing is police officers have discretion. That's the word. They have discretion. Exactly.
Yep.
Just the way Cuomo had discretion when he banned that state trooper up to Canada for dating his daughter.
Yeah, that's he showed discretion.
I invited him to my house for Thanksgiving, but he was busy.
So how does one begin the process of running for mayor? Like what is it? You have to declare first?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would imagine you have to get a petition up with a certain amount of names so you can declare, right?
That comes later. Actually, it's a filing and registration process first, which is kind of an ordeal. They kind of run you back and forth between Manhattan and Albany, trying to figure out where you're supposed to be. So once that finally falls in place, once you're
ready, do that yourself, or you can have a lawyer do that for you.
No, you can do it on your own.
But I'm just saying, if you, because there's a certain amount of money that's it's going to cost. What do you figure
to win the election?
I mean, obviously, when you start running, you want to gain some traction and possibly win.
It's hard to tell. I've heard a bunch of different numbers, anywhere between 10 million. I've heard 20 million, which I think is way out of whack. It's hard to tell. It really is hard to tell. but you
How
are
much
going to
you
need.
got so far?
What's that?
How much you got so far? We gotta help you raise money.
Less than 10 million.
All right. So we got to get you 999 million then, right?
So, Bill, one of the things is what like obviously your platform is one of law and order. How about fiscally? How about New York City lost a tremendous amount of its tax base from COVID now. You think these people are going to come back?
We have to bring them back. The first thing we have to do is we have to open up the city. We can't leave the city closed. We can't leave Broadway shut down. We can't lose businesses. We have to open up the city. You can do it safely. I mean, there are guidelines and safety regulations that you can put in place and you can enforce and make sure that these businesses adhere to. You can do that. There's no reason why indoor dining should be shut down. Like I said, Broadway cannot be closed this long. All we're doing is putting more of a tax burden on the citizens of the city, and it's crushing them. And that's why they're leaving. They're leaving in droves because they can't.
I don't understand what they're doing with the indoor dining is closed, but then they were doing outdoor dining, right? But now, because it's getting cold and we can't go inside, they're getting heaters for the outdoor dining and they're closing it off.
Right.
So now you're back to indoor dining, except you're outside.
Right. Indoor dining outside. Okay, but indoor dining is not good. Indoor dining outside is good. So again, there's no plan.
Listen, I'm all for the restaurants. Okay. I think everything, we're all adults. If you walk into a place and they're not following the guidelines, you're going to turn around and be like, no, I don't trust this place. It's like going out to a club.
Right.
It's freaking packed. You can't see the emergency exit. You wind up staying there. It's on you.
Right. And the same thing goes with gyms. You walk into a gym and you don't think it's clean. You don't think they're sanitizing it or there's not enough cleaning equipment then you leave. You're in it, like you said, you're an adult. You leave and you don't go back.
Right.
We don't have
to, like anyone that would go to a restaurant that's, the ratings, it's got a B or a C. I'm not going in there,
Right,
exactly. I want to see that big A outside.
Right, exactly. But we don't have to be spoon-fed everything. We can think on our own.
Right. Well, some of the things, Bill, that we've harped upon on this show too is one of the things that are policing in general in New York City is A, of course, bail reform. B, when they made jumping a turnstile a civil matter instead of a theft of service misdemeanor. That hurts the enforcement of jumping the turnstile, which most people that commit crimes in the subway, guess what? They don't pay their fare.
Right.
So that was a way that the police were able to clean the subway through the people jumping the turnstile. But they took that away from them now.
Right. And now we see people every day getting pushed in front of trains.
Yes, because you got EDPs.
Of course it's related.
You think those EDPs that push people in front of trains paid their fare?
Yeah, no, they didn't use their Metro card. Absolutely. So yes, it is all related. Of course.
You become mayor, you want to tackle bail reform. How do you even fix that? Because that's something that the governor signed off on.
That's a fight with the governor. That's a fight with, it's something you got to sit down and you got to make the point to him that this just can't happen. I mean, we're losing lives. We're losing innocent people. Cops are getting hurt. Cops are getting shot. This cannot happen. And you really have to make a strong case to him. I mean, the mayor doesn't make a strong case in anything.
No.
But no, my administration will. Absolutely.
And it's a scary time to be the opposition right now because these people aren't just if you become running a strong campaign, I can guarantee you, they go and they stand in front of your house and they protest. And they're I just read a story just the other day. Oh, Garcetti, the mayor of LA.
Mm-hmm.
He's up for one of the cabinet spots in Biden's administration, and they're protesting in front of his house from like 7 a.m., like all around the clock. They're there protesting.
Right.
And, your campaign starts heading up some steam, you know what I'm saying? And you're starting to get some attention. I'd already start planning right now. Where's your alternate? You're going to have you got to get a body double, first of all, to keep going to your old house, and you
that
got to be somewhere else.
But I understand what you mean. Absolutely.
Where are we going to find a guy your age with that upper body? I don't know.
It's not easy.
Those straps, those shoulders, it's not going to be. We know maybe Lou Ferrigno. Maybe we can get Lou Ferrigno come back to Brooklyn.
We'll give him a call. See
But Bill, let me also ask you: of
Yeah.
course, the Democrats are probably going to have about 10 or 12 candidates from the.
At least.
I know Eric Adams is one of the NYPD captain who also doesn't like the police, even though he was one. Well, I don't know if he was ever really a real cop, but he was on the police department.
Right.
But
Exactly.
he sort of was an activist even when he was a cop.
Sure. Yes, he
And then
was.
you have some of the other people that are running all cut from the same cloth as DeBlasio, you know.
They're
So
all the
can a conservative Republican win? Has the electorate had enough of this shit at this point, like they did during Giuliani's era?
I think a Republican conservative can win if any time a Republican conservative can win in New York, it's now. Like you said, everyone that's running on the Democratic side is just de Blasio 2.0. They're
Yeah,
probably they're further left than even he is. So what we're counting on is that there are enough New Yorkers and even enough Democrats who have had enough, who saw what happened this past summer, saw some of the most expensive real estate in the country boarded up with private security and guard dogs standing in front of it. Macy's and Herald Square getting looted and burned and glass broken. Those people have to realize this is enough. This isn't working, and it's not good for anybody, no matter what party you belong to. Doesn't matter if you're a conservative or a liberal or Republican. Doesn't matter. This is our city, and it's being destroyed. And
yeah.
pretty soon it's going to be unlivable for everybody, no matter what party you belong to.
Well, Bloomberg ran as a Republican, even though we all know he's a Democrat. And I never forget, I worked with 3 detectives in warrants, and they wound up getting on the mayor's detail. Well, he was running for mayor at the time, and their sergeant that knew them, that picked him up, was like, what he told him was, listen, you stop catching cases for a couple of months. Guy's never going to win. And then he wound up winning, and they wound up staying on the detail.
Yeah, you never know. It's possible. Like I said, if it was ever going to happen, now is the time.
Yeah, well,
New Yorkers have to be fed up at this point.
Well, we always talk about on this show the Brian Watkins moment. And
Yes.
I don't know if you remember that case, the kid from
Absolutely. Sure.
that was stabbed to death to coming to his mother's aid in Times Square subway station.
Yep, I
Have we
remember.
had that moment in New York City, or have many moments, and the electorate doesn't care? You know,
I
You
don't know if it's they
wonder
don't.
what
I don't know if it's that they don't care. I mean, I'm trying to think back to like when they first of all they don't vote. Like, how many votes do you think come out of New York when a New York City mayor election?
Well, the last mayor election, there was only, I believe, 20% of registered voters turned out to vote, and that's one of the reasons he got a second term. So we
It's
have,
always in the second term too, where they really do the damage.
of course, his political career is over. He's not going anywhere. We saw what happened to him when he ran for president.
Oh, God.
So, I mean, he can do whatever he wants for the next, what are we looking at, 10 months, 12 months? He can do a lot of damage. So we have to be careful. Elections have consequences. And we're seeing that right now with a second term de Blasio.
How far away are we from it anyway? A year?
Well, June would be primaries, and November, yeah, we're a year away from the actual election.
Do you have any heavyweights yet backing you?
We do. We have a lot of quiet support, people who are staying in the background right now, but we do have a lot of really good people. A lot of people with the police department. I can't say their names right now, but you would know them. Highly respected, highly qualified, good quality people who are going to help me along the way and be a big part of my administration. And I have a lot of other people that would be agency heads that, again, top quality people who can help me turn the city around quickly. And when the names do come out, when we get to that point, you're going to be very impressed.
Hey, could I be the commissioner of comedy clubs?
Yeah, why not? I haven't filled that spot yet, so sure.
Hey, what was I going to ask you? Tell us about your background. Like, how does one come to run? I mean, what type of political background do you have so far?
Well, when I retired, I moved out to Pennsylvania. My daughter, I have a special needs daughter, and we needed to get her a lot of resources, a lot of therapy that, quite honestly, the New York City public school system couldn't provide at that point. And that's one of my priorities as mayor as far as special needs. So while I was out in Pennsylvania, I decided to run for mayor of my borough. And it was spurred by law enforcement because our town's police department they were trying to outsource it. So I got involved with that. I ran for mayor. I did pretty well, only like 6 weeks of campaigning. I finished second. beat the Republican, lost to the Democrat. And I turned around and ran for council, town council, and I won in a landslide against the 25-year incumbent. So I have some political experience that has definitely helped me so far with this this crusade, so to speak. So I do know some of the ins and outs. I've always been, on the fringe of politics. So it's been an experience. Obviously, already it's been an experience. So I have a little bit of a background.
Bill, when you hear that term, defund the police, what does that do to you?
It has to make all of us angry. It just, because it's so irresponsible, and it's, quite frankly, it's ignorant. It was just a term that the anarchists threw out there, and the politicians bowed and kneeled and actually went forward with legislation based on a phrase. That's all it is. It was a phrase thrown out there by anarchists. And for them to cut police funding and to stop police academy classes based on that, I mean, it's aggravating, it's disgraceful, and it's irresponsible.
Seattle's in a tough spot because their crime is going up.
Yes.
And they passed, I think, 18% reduction in police funding, and yet their retired people are bailing out, and they only have, like, I think, 12,000 police department.
Yeah, it's a small department,
and they're losing people at double the rate.
Yeah.
So, the only person who voted against it was a council person that wanted 50%. So she didn't vote for the 18%. She was the only holdout, and that's because she was holding out for 50%.
Right. So what's going to happen to that city?
You know what? I got to tell you, I don't care. I don't live there, and if I was a criminal, I would pack up my stuff and move over there right now.
Absolutely.
But it's going to be for a while there. It's going to be, who's going to stop you? Who's going to catch you?
Right.
Just do whatever you want.
And what's going to happen here if, God forbid, one of the DeBlasio 2.0s win? What is that going to do? I mean, the morale of the police department is already, it couldn't possibly be any lower. They're going to send a message that, criminals run the streets. And what is New York City going to look like in 2 years?
Yeah, that seems to be the problem, because Wall Street runs on projection.
Right.
Even though right now it could seem shit, the reason why we could still keep selling socks is because it's going to get better. It has to get better. It can't stay this way. And New York City, they have no projection, because right now we know we haven't hit rock bottom yet. Those of us who are old enough to remember how bad it could be.
Yes.
And we are not there yet. And I guess we have to get there and to rebuild again. I guess that's what they want. I'm not really sure what the plan is, but these businesses are coming back.
I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what the end game is. We hear the term socialism thrown around. Is that what they really want? Do they really want a socialistic country and socialism running through New York City? Is that really is that what the end game is here?
Yeah, I'm embarrassed for some of the powerful people that, from New York, because instead of standing up and forming a coalition and fighting against City Hall with these stupid rules, they're all moving. They're all leaving. They're bailing out.
Yeah.
They're going to greener pastures and leaving everybody else. Screw them. You know? And, you could chase him. I remember Cuomo was saying that, he's gonna either have them over for dinner, but realistically, what they started doing was sending the IRS after them and nailing them on taxes for leaving. But they're still living anyway, because
yeah, of course, it's unlivable here.
You're gonna get, if you do become mayor, man, God bless you, because you're gonna be handed a bag of crap. Look at the commercial real estate right now. What are you gonna do with that in Manhattan when nobody's going back to their offices, or not the way they used to?
I've received so many messages over the past few days about business owners in Manhattan who are just leaving because there's no future. I've received messages from people who live in Battery Park who are getting crushed with a ground tax of $500 on top of their mortgage, on top of their maintenance fees. They're getting hit with a ground tax of $500 a month.
For what?
That's what they do. Nobody has any idea.
What is that, a ground tax?
A ground tax, they call it.
GROUND?
Yep.
But what is it for?
Nobody seems to know. I haven't been able to get an answer. all they're doing is throwing taxes on top of taxes on top of taxes. And their maintenance fees and this ridiculous ground tax, it almost adds up to what they're paying monthly, their mortgages.
Yeah, I work in the city as a concierge, and I got to tell you, the building I work in, there's a lot of people leaving.
There's a lot of people.
A lot of apartments for sale.
Yeah, now the businesses we have to get back. We have to show them that we have to show them we're going to protect them, not what he did when he left the city wide open and let all their businesses get burned down.
Can you imagine if Bloomberg would have held on to that 200 million, the first wasted one that he used to run for president, and then the second one that he used for Florida? He could actually help New York out. He probably has another 200 million he could throw into New York. That would be nice.
Yeah, he's not missing his money.
He's trying to affect the election in Georgia now with the Senate, the two Senate.
Yeah, I heard that. Yes,
spending all kinds of money. It just doesn't seem right that a millionaire can just affect an election.
A billionaire.
Throwing money at it,
Yeah, it's disgusting, really. It's to me, that's corruption.
Yeah, of course it is. To me, it is as well.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that money really is controlling all these elections, and well, we just saw what happened with as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
Except maybe one good thing about that is that if crime keeps going up to a level that's intolerable for the movers and the shakers in the city, that's when they'll go and behind the scenes slap the mayor and say,
We would hope that they get to that point.
Yeah.
Bill, let me tell you something, all right? Just between me and you and Bill, I know a guy. He's got some Dominion machines, right? So when you do run, you tell me where you want me to put these machines.
I know exactly where to put them.
We got votes printed for days for you, okay, buddy?
Very good. We're going to need them.
All mail-ins. Yeah, all mail-in votes.
I know a guy.
I got a guy.
These
freaking Dominion machines. Oh, what?
No, Bill, another thing we have to touch upon, and this is probably the most horrendous thing that's happened to New York City cops in the last year, and that's that diaphragm law. And I know there's a lawsuit now to reverse it, but these clowns on the city council, and they are clowns, they just made a recent law where they want people to rat out people who are illegally parked. And if the person gets convicted of the summons, they give them a piece of the summons. I mean, that sounds like communism almost,
It does. But, you look at that where they want people to rat each other out. Remember what Captain Eric Adams said back this summer, where he told citizens in his borough that he represents not to call 911, not to call the police, but to confront people who are shooting fireworks.
Yeah, that's a brilliant.
It cost a young woman her life.
Yeah.
So this whole theory of ratting on people, it's dangerous. It's very, very dangerous. It's irresponsible. And in that situation, it cost somebody their life. So what are we doing here? I don't understand it.
It's a whole different philosophy. That's
exactly. It is.
I don't get it. I don't think Eric Adams confronted 20 criminals in his career. He's telling the public to confront people, I've never heard a cop that worked in Brooklyn say a single good thing about that guy.
No, neither have I.
I remember him, but I remember he was part of that 100 Blacks.
Yes.
Law enforcement.
Law enforcement who cared.
Oh, yeah.
There was a whole expression to it.
Yep, I remember that. So what is there a chart and how you start building up your campaign? Because it's like a marathon, I'm sure you have a training schedule, a way that you're going to go about building up and stuff like that.
Yes, we started out, our campaign was really a grassroots movement to start. It's all about meeting people, touching people, talking to people, getting people excited about our message, and we've done that so far. Our first 4 or 5 months of campaigning, we've gotten a ton of support, and now it shifts into another level. Now it's about more media access, more events, fundraising, the unfortunate part of it. So there is a template to follow. We've been following it, and we're doing very well with it.
You obviously have to spend a lot of time in Staten Island. You can definitely take Staten Island, that's for sure, right?
Yes, well, I live in Staten Island, so that's a good start.
So you got to take your own borough, right?
Yes.
And then Brooklyn, you got to take Brooklyn too.
That's where I was born.
You put on some Hasid garb and you go to one of those weddings and start handing out cards, you know?
Yeah,
Make
yeah.
sure you have the mask on though, so they can't criticize you.
You got to get in there, find Moish. Ask for Moish.
So no, find the Grand Rebbe and say, hey, you got to be my rabbi, Rebbe.
That's what I'm saying. You find Moish, he'll introduce you to the Grand Rebbe. I remember getting pushed around that night like crazy, man.
Yeah.
They won't come out and actually punch you like right in the face, but they'll pull your hair. They'll choke you.
I know.
It was rough, man. It was right. There was like 100,000 people in that.
There was a few days like that over there. I was in the 7-1 in Crown Heights. There was a lot of that turned nasty.
Yeah, man. I remember those task force days, man.
Yes.
We had Anamone on the show, and he took back Crown Heights after the Crown Heights riots, you know.
Oh yeah. I was in Crown Heights riots, and right in the middle of that, and two people that stand out that I'll never forget: Chief Anamone and Chief Esposito. Without them, we would have really gotten hurt bad, especially Chief Esposito.
Yeah.
It's funny how those guys rose up, and that's where they made their bones. You know.
Yeah. Chief Esposito at the time, I believe he was the CEO of the 6-6. I believe he was a captain back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. He saved my ass. So I'm forever in debt to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Anamone was an inspector at the time, and they put him in charge above the chiefs because I think the chief of control was Selvaggi, and he knew that Anamone could get it done. And he put Anamone in charge. I'm sure chiefs didn't like that, you know. Oh, an inspector's going to be in charge of this, you know.
But I ruffled a few feathers up there.
Yeah, you know.
But he was a great boss.
Oh, he was great. What a great leader, you know. And then, of course, he became the guru of disorder control.
Yes.
He studied it all over the world, and he was the go-to guy after that. Because we had him in when all these riots were happening, and he was like, you know, cringing. Well, basically, the police in New York City can take a riot, bring it under control, but they're not allowed to because they're being held back, you know.
Of course. They could have shut those riots down. As we all know.
Yeah. They wanted them to vent. It was the new venting, you know.
Right.
You noticed they didn't use mounted, they didn't use drones, right? They didn't use any of the toys that they have to bring riots under control.
Every video you saw police officers no helmets, no shields.
Right.
No, I know.
I don't understand the whole bicycle thing. That's a problem I have as well. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know how you feel about that, but they're doing this sort of control with bicycles in their hands.
Yeah.
You know what? It was better than nothing, though. They worked actually.
Oh, it is better than nothing, absolutely. But
they used it to block off the people. I don't know how they learned how to use it that way, but I saw a little video of it. It was effective, you know, and it was better than nothing what they had. And they took away everything. I was telling Bill, I haven't seen a helicopter flying over the city. When you heard them every single day, the police helicopters, I didn't hear one during those riots at all. Yeah. They didn't want to take any footage from up there. They didn't want to have any accountability. It's the whole thing is just so insane. It's so insane.
You know, and when you talk to someone from the left about those riots and you tell them the Democrats supported it because look, Antifa, and they're like, what is Antifa? It's just an idea. Okay, don't even tell me that. Did the idea bring a pallet full of bricks, or was that Home Depot that delivered them to the protest site? Did they all come in the same school buses? Was that not organized, right? Are they all dressed in the same outfits? Is that not organized? You know what I mean? So they're acting like this is just so happened. Yeah, you know.
I know. I agree.
And you know, when they're supporting the rioters, going right up to the governor, he supported them. He called them protesters.
Yeah, he came out and said, "I stand with the protesters."
Yeah.
And they criticized the cops every single day.
Oh yeah, he was on board criticizing them every night.
Yeah, every day.
And notice when it happened, he sent the troopers out of New York.
Yes, he did.
Because he doesn't want anything coming back to him.
That's right.
You know, but now he wins an Emmy. It's like when Obama won the Nobel Peace Prize after being president for 2 months. Same thing with, you know,
we're living in such an odd time. It's hard to believe that this is reality.
It is. It is. You shake your head sometimes and say, "Is this really happening?"
Right. It's
unfortunately it is. It is. It is.
It just goes to show you how the lengths that people will go through to regain the power, because it was all part of the plan of making the president look bad.
Right.
And it didn't matter whether the businesses closed, people died. It didn't matter. It was all about making the president look bad because we have to get him out of here. And
Right.
for me, you could have the power, man. I don't want it. I don't want it. If I have to do that, I don't want it. But that just goes to show you how greedy these people are for power. And look at what they do with these rules. Half these rules don't even make any sense. We talked about the nightclub that's on the inside, like the Roxbury. Remember that?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
we want to build a club where the inside of the club is on the outside, right? And then the no school kids now they're not going to school. He put the people in the nursing home. It's one miscalculation after another, rather than just sit back and tell everybody to get tested, tell everybody to be responsible. It's just unbelievable, man.
And complete lack of leadership in the city and the state.
Yeah. But what's funny is that when Cuomo gives those like briefings on COVID, you have to see people from out of New York. You would think this guy was the Messiah. They love Cuomo.
I know they do.
And I always comment, take him to your state. I think I think the state was $7 billion in the hole before COVID hit.
They were all looking like idiots now. That Gavin Newsom now, nobody's listening to what the fuck he's got to say, because he went to that party at the winery. Our governor here too. Well, his brother was supposedly had it and was checking on a house in Long Island.
No mask. Right.
Democrats all over the country, they put out these laws, these rules that we have to follow, and then they don't follow them themselves. So
exactly.
And also protesting, you don't have to. Protests are fine, right?
Right.
That doesn't spread COVID. That's fine if you want to protest.
Right. Yeah, we can only have 10 people for Thanksgiving, but they can put 25,000 people in the street burning down buildings,
right?
Smashing those. Yeah.
Imagine putting something on paper saying no singing with your family. Like, listen. My family, we get together, we don't sing.
No, neither.
Maybe sometimes they used to be karaoke once in a while, but that was for the ladies used to do that. But there's really not. We're not singing that.
No, we don't do much singing either. A lot of eating, not much singing.
Yeah, right. Really, the Italians, do they get around and like sing a couple of hymns before they actually sit down? No, right?
We just start eating. That's the way we do. A lot of yelling at each other and eating.
You have the turkey and the pasta, or what?
Yeah, of course, absolutely. The turkey is
such filling. Both turkey, all the stuff you eat with turkey and pasta, it's all like, oh my god, right? It's so filling, right?
It is, but that's why you eat the pasta first. The turkey is like a second option.
I always noticed that about like Italian Thanksgivings, that the turkey's almost like all the way on the end. Like nobody's even really messing. It's just a regular dinner, and then if anybody wants a slice of turkey, go to the end over there. Yeah, there's some turkey over there.
Bill, you got a campaign manager?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Who is that?
His name is Charles Messina. He is very big in Manhattan in the arts down in Manhattan and the art district and the theater district. A lot of connections. A really good guy, a New Yorker who really cares about the city, and he's done a great job for us. I mean, he's on board with me. We have the same viewpoints, the same vision for New York. He's a great guy. He's doing a great job.
How about a social media person? You got one of those yet? Because I'm going to tell you something right now. What you're doing right now, this is the way. Do you ever watch that, The Mandalorian?
What was that? I'm sorry.
You watch the TV show, The Mandalorian?
No, I've heard of it. I don't even know.
This is the way. That's what Yoda said. No, that's what the Mandalorian said.
Yoda. I've heard of Yoda. Yes.
Well, yeah, but it's a baby Yoda. But the Mandalorian says the way they communicate, when they're done, they go, "This is the way. This is the way right now." What you're doing, you have to create a scenario where at least once a week you're going to get on and you're going to talk to the people that you hope will vote for you, and then you have to share it on social media, and you have to create a social media presence. You don't have to. You're running for mayor in New York City, so you can target this New York City You know what I'm saying? You can target just that. So you can narrow the scope of and use your money wisely. But you need to get a social media. Your Instagram has to be blowing up. Do TikTok too.
TikTok, okay.
I'm telling you,
about that.
Whatever it is, as silly as it is, if you're gonna do a dance with your kids, hey, what's up? I'm so and so. I'm running for mayor, and then boom, you go into your dance. Whatever it is, you gotta. This is what you have to do, because that's how you're gonna. In the meantime,
have you ever seen me?
It doesn't matter. I'm telling. In the meantime, right now, while there's nothing going on except for hating DeBlasio, people should be getting to know who you are.
Right. Sure.
Who is this campaign manager of you? Let me tell you something. Get rid of this guy. You got me. No, I'm kidding. I'm telling you right now. Use the social media.
Yeah, Bill. We had George Santos on.
Oh, I know George very well.
Yeah, he ran for District 3. We thought he was going to win, and then all of a sudden, all these mail-in votes came in.
Mail-in ballots showed up, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, he was winning. He was up by 1.5%.
I know he was.
Election day, and then who was it? The guys from Glen Cove, Swazi.
Swazi, yeah.
From a big-time old family from Glen Cove. They've been in the,
You know what? I saw this guy. I forget who his name is, but he said the biggest miscalculation that Trump had was not getting involved with the mail-in ballots. He should have got involved with it. He should have encouraged it. That would have shot them right in the foot, because you never, if you own a business, you never say no to a currency. Whatever it is, I'll take it. Yeah, here's this.
Right. No,
and these were votes right now. This red wave, the whole thing was stupid. You could see it happening. You should have embraced it and go in full tilt and equal them on the mail-in ballots. That's what I agree with that guy. When I heard that guy say it, I was like, wow, he was right, man. You know, because I used to watch the show The Apprentice, not religiously, but every once in a while. And you'd sit down at that table and Donald Trump would tell you where you messed up. And that's when you were fired. And if you wanted to fire him, that's where the mess up. Whoever guided him on poo-hooing the mail-in ballots, it was a dumb idea.
Yeah, the Democrats definitely outplay the Republicans on.
Yeah, and when you saw it coming, you should have embraced it. You shouldn't have let him, because it was already common knowledge that mail-in ballots were going to be Democratic ballots.
Of course.
Why?
Of course.
You want it was like, oh, you're going to mail-in ballot? I'm going to stand in line. You should have just said, listen, you vote whichever way you want to vote. That's what I would have said.
Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. They definitely missed the boat on that, and they missed a big opportunity.
That was a miscalculation, man. I hate to say it.
No, it was. Obviously.
But you know something? Whatever the final tally was, Trump has 72 or 73 million people.
That's right.
That back him. So you see there's people, this is almost a 50-50 split of this country, left and right, Democrat, Republican. So if you could turn around the New York City electorate, which is even a bigger left-wing electorate, you could definitely, you're going uphill with this, but look, we support you, man. We hope you can do it. We really do.
I appreciate it. It's going to be a fight. It's not going to be easy. But, I knew that going in. And like I said,
I always say, anything worthwhile is not easy. If it was easy.
Of course. It's going to be a fight. I'm ready for the fight. We got good people. We're surrounding ourselves with good people. We're ready for it.
I'm telling you, start getting your feet wet. And I'm coming to you from a comedy point of view. Our careers as comedians at some point became a lot of doing social media. And there's a way to go about it. There's little tricks of it. And a lot of it is you got to keep them, your fan base, always be showing them something.
Okay.
Give them some, I'm missing the word right now, but content, that's it. So you should come up with a plan right now early on. Say, I am going to do a video every 3 days. And do that for a month, right? And don't worry so much about what it is. Just even if it's just hello, my name is Bill Pepitone. I'm running for mayor. I live in Staten Island. I just wanted to introduce myself. And you do it, and then you start doing one every 2 days, and then one every day, and then you go to doing 3 a day. By the time the campaign is cooking, you're going to be getting in touch with the people that are following you 2-3 times a day with something.
Sure. Yeah.
and it's something that you can do on your own. Obviously, you're going to get help as it goes along,
Right.
but you have an opportunity right now to get comfortable with it.
Okay.
So by the time things are cooking, this is second nature. I'm not so nervous anymore about how this video is going to come out. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because a lot of it is like, oh, am I going to look stupid doing this? Or am I going to do that? You should waste those now. Get those out of the way now. The ones where you look uncomfortable, and start getting comfortable with it. You know what I'm saying? Even if you do one at the gym, I would love to see you at the gym. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, we can do that.
You saying up 315 still or what?
Yeah, 315, 330. Yeah,
that's not bad.
Any whatever it is that you're doing, the smoothie that you go, hey, what's up? I'm Bill Pepitone. I'm after a workout, working out here, fighting this COVID. This is what I would do with this. This is what I would do with that. Look, Trump, this whole thing about fighting to get him out was the dumbest mistake as far as I'm concerned, because the first year, you're still going to be dealing with COVID as a president. And then for the next year after that, you're going to be dealing with the economy. The whole time you got this guy on the side who's in perfect health, apparently. Like, he hasn't aged a bit.
Right.
And he's going to be critiquing everything that you're doing. And they're going to be coming to him every day. And he's going to tell you how, Joe, China's eating your lunch and you're an idiot. And this and the other. Right. And then after 2 years, he's going to announce that he's running again. So now you're going to have that pressure. They should have just let him do his.
I heard he's going to announce he's running at Biden's inauguration.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think
take the steam out of his inauguration. Yeah, I'm running it for. Well, Biden's not going to be around in 4 years to run again.
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. But that's so sad to say. It's true, because it's like another human being. But when they start saying that, that going in, and you also know that then your president is going to be Kamala Harris.
Right. I think that's from the beginning.
Yeah. But, it's funny. It's like he was the least of all evil. All of the rest of the candidates, half of them couldn't crack 1%.
Right. Right. Sure.
And Bernie Sanders, they want to send him back to Moscow because he was so far left.
Yeah.
And that's how Biden, by default, got the nomination.
Really. Right. Of course. He was the closest thing to a moderate they can come up with.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're fighting so hard for Georgia, because to tell you the truth, if they do win the Senate, then all those freaking stupid bills that they want to pass and the progressive, those bills, he's going to have to veto them, Biden. And they're going to freaking hate him, because he's not going to, you can't let those things go through. So right. At least if you get stopped at the Senate, you could always raise your hand and, there's nothing I can do. It gets stopped at the Senate.
Right.
So to me, I would like it behoove. They don't want, BLM already wanted a meeting with Biden right off the bat.
Of course. You knew that was.
Before he's even in the office.
Right.
And you don't want to let these people infest and start dictating what you're going to do, because, you're going to lose the country.
Yes. Yes. He will lose the country. I agree.
The scary thing, too, and I'm sure, being we're all ex-retired cops here, is that the Second Amendment, when people would say, I need my guns to defend my home and my family, that was never more apparent during these times of these riots, when the government refused to protect the populace.
Right.
And
absolutely.
When crazy people would say, "Oh, who are you going to fight with?" No, I need that, because the government they call the police down, they pull the police back, so I got to be able to protect my family myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, never. Absolutely. I 100% agree.
Well, can you imagine if they start with the Second Amendment bullshit?
I could see. I could definitely.
People have been stockpiling weapons right now.
Well, I know.
Talking about somebody that already had 20 firearms. Then all this stuff happened. They probably have 50 or 60 right now. And now they're going to tell me we're going to go door to door and start confiscating. It's going to end rapidly.
Yes.
There's going to be one shootout, and unfortunately, cops are probably going to get killed, and then it's going to stop. But you're not going to get the guns out of these people's hands.
No.
They're talking about taxing them so high that people will want to turn them in.
You mean annually? Yes. That already have a gun?
Say you have an AR-15. Okay, that's to keep that. You got to pay $500 a year.
And what happens when I don't pay it?
They'll come and take it.
They ain't taking nothing. You see what I'm saying?
Look, I know as a sergeant, we used to get firearms removal orders, and we would have to go. And this is when someone's permit expired in New York City. I'm sure you went with the sergeant on one of these. And you would have to go to the person's house, and usually the person was gone, they left, whatever. But
Right.
you went there to collect their firearm because their permit had expired.
Right.
So they could do the same thing with AR-15s or whatever firearms. Oh, this guy's not paying his fees. Well, that's because he owns 20 guns. It would cost him $10,000 a year.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I'm telling you, you're gonna face resistance within the first day, and it's gonna be blip, 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 all parts of the country, standoffs. Which brings me to a point. You know what I want to ask you? Are you friends with how would you handle the situation with the bar owner there in Staten Island that he claimed his bar in the autonomous zone?
I saw that. Yeah, he claimed it was an autonomous zone, and they sent TLC over there, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why TLC got involved or why. I thought the sheriffs were doing it, but again, it comes down to the man is trying to run a business. He's trying to keep his livelihood open.
Well, he's giving the drinks away apparently because that's the loophole in the law.
Not charging. He's just asking for.
Yeah, and they leave him a tip for him.
Right, but the guy's trying to make a living. He's trying to feed his family.
And he says that more people should join. And I think I've always said that from the very beginning. I was like, you know what? They should have formed coalitions.
Yes, they should.
We already have them. These communities, they should have band together and says, no, we're not closing our store. Let's get a lawyer and let's fight it. And then, instead of being zone A by itself, now you got zone A, B, and D, and they form together. And they got 4 lawyers now going there filing the same lawsuit. And it's going on all over the city. No. Look, they just won the church thing, the Cuomo thing with the churches that you can't.
Well, he got slapped by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's where they were all going. They would all lose.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we got to fight back. We just can't let them take our livelihoods away, our homes away. We can't allow it. At some point, we have to stand up and fight back.
Bill, do you know Joe Murray from Queens who ran for Queens?
I do know Joe.
He's another good guy. We got to get him on your Rolodex there.
Yes. Joe's a good guy. Absolutely.
But he's a good boxer. He was a good boxer back in the day.
He was. Yeah. Okay.
But you know what, though? You know what? He's talking about a meeting of the minds, right? You get him, you get you together, anybody else. Now, what do you do? You're running here, I'll support you there. I'll run over here, you support me there. We kind of sort of use the same people and we push.
Sure, of course.
The same resources back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way you do it, but you got to kind of sort of stick together, and you got to realize, okay, it might not work out for me this time around, but 2 more years from now, we'll give it another crack for you. We'll go for you now. And then you just keep going back and you keep involving more people in this,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys know John Cummings, who ran against AOC?
I heard but he lost against her, right?
He lost, but he ran a really good campaign, raised a lot of money, got his message out there. I mean, people are just infatuated with that woman for some reason.
Well, Bill, that's an amazing thing is that it just shows you how crazy the electorate is. She's nuts.
She's out of her mind.
Yeah, she got elected to that constituency over there. She's out of her mind. She was mixing drinks 2 years ago, and now she's,
They made a mistake because John Cummings would have been a very, very good candidate. He was a good
He was a school teacher, right?
Right, retired NYPD and then became a school teacher.
Yeah, it's a shame, but
yeah, people are fascinated by her. But I heard that her reach is only as much as you want to help it. It's just in this area over here because
of course, right.
But you know what it is? You know who makes her a superstar? The press,
the media.
The fake media makes her a star because that's who they are. If you ever try to read the New York Times?
No.
It's like what I do. I want to know what the other side's doing. It's like a whole op-ed. The paper is just one big op-ed. All the writers. It's just their opinions. It's just like, how is this news?
What's funny is that the only time I read the New York Times was for like theater reviews, right? And now I start to question because you realize, so and so used to complain about the reviews, and they had the one guy there that was the biggest reviewer, and he'd pan everything, and there was so much money invested in some of these productions, and he'd come and pan you, and that was it. You get a 1 month run, and you'd be over. And I'm like, it has nothing's changed really. It's just that we're starting to notice it.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
Like I tell people all the time, they're like, there's so many homeless people in the street now. I'm like, it's the same amount of homeless people. It's just that there's not that many other people out. So where somebody was going to get punched in the face today,
Right.
you know, I had 100,000 people to choose from on this corner. Now I only got 3. Guess what, pal? You're it.
Right. Right.
Welcome to the knuckle sandwich. You know what I'm saying? And these people get punched in the face, you know, sitting there having dinner. You saw what happened to the guy from Ghostbusters, that poor Rick Moranis.
Yeah, Rick Moranis.
They caught that guy.
They
and
did.
I guarantee you that guy's somewhere right now thinking about punching somebody else in the face.
He's
Right
a catch and release. He's another catch and release guy, you know.
Right. Of course he is.
It's so crazy.
What does that do anyway when you take somebody away? The whole idea was to take them away for a couple of days and let them cool off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And now you take them away for 3 hours. They're not.
3 hours.
Cool at all.
No, they're more angry than they were 3 hours ago.
Yeah. But you know, Bill, the whole thing is an ideology. And the ideology, what it wants to do is empty jails and prisons.
Right.
Because the bigger picture was, the United States has the largest prison population in the world.
Right.
And that's how we dealt with crime. And now they have this thing called community corrections, where they want people who are arrested to live in their community, you know, with an ankle bracelet on or whatever. Well, I don't think it really works, to tell you the truth, but that's what they envision.
Right. No, that's not going to work. It's absolutely not going to work. But it's okay because it's not in their communities, so they don't really care.
Right.
Right.
Well, the former president of John Jay College, Jeremy Travis,
Okay.
you recall him, right? He put together this group of left-wing professors, and they did this big report. In fact, I'll send you a copy of the report. I have a copy of it, of how people can lower the crime rate or violent crime without the police. That was the nature of this report. And of course, knowing what the left wing, it's all about, just give the money. Just keep giving the money.
Right.
You know? Like universal, what's that called? Universal income. I'm probably not using the term for it, but where you pay people to do nothing.
Right.
You've heard about that, right? That's
Yes.
one of their ideas too. Universal income, where someone so they don't do crime, you just pay them, $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
crimes. That's a great idea.
Excellent idea. Yeah.
I don't understand it.
there was a guy.
Pay me too. When I went into the SBA to see Eddie Mullins one day, he says to me, he goes, "You're unemployed, right?" And I never thought of myself as being unemployed. I'm a retired sergeant.
Retired, not unemployed, is it?
Right. Well, I know he said it as a joke.
You know what, though? I think that's the world we're heading towards right now. I mean, listen, I forget who it was. And I'm horrible with the names thing, but he said this idea that everybody has to work is ludicrous. If one person creates an invention that can feed us all, house us all, and we're taken care of, then what are we going to these meaningless jobs? And my point is this. There's a bunch of people working right now, and I work with a couple of them that are completely useless. And they'd be better off if you just send them the check at home. And you know what? Feed them food, give them all the videos that they want to watch on TV, and just leave them at home. That's what we're creating right now. We're creating a world where we're going to give people that, because look, once the trucking industry, like these cars can drive themselves, all those people are going to be home. And there's a bunch of these businesses that are also going to happen that you're going to stay home. Right. So that's what they're preparing the world for a time where there's going to be people staying home. But don't relax. We're still going to feed you. We're going to give you whatever you want to watch on Netflix. And just chill. Just chill out.
Well, Bill, the mom and pop stores are falling every day, but Amazon, their business is booming.
Oh, Amazon is booming right now, of course. Yeah. People don't have to go out.
The world we live in right now, like for example, if I needed some thumbtacks and these little cards so I can write, I'm working on a screenplay, right? I'm like, when am I going to get the staples? I got to get the staples, this, that, and the other. And I'm trying to figure out my car, parking, all this. And I'm like, why don't I just order it? And I ordered it on Amazon. It was there the next day. So it's almost like once you get used to this ordering on Amazon.
No, that's it. You never house again. There's no reason to. You could do everything on Amazon.
Except Mark, if you park illegally when you go shopping, I'm ratting you out to 20 of the $105
That's right.
summons.
That's the one thing I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how far that could go though, because are you going to be like a meter maid for the city? You're going to be watching people's meter expire and going, there's a car over here and his meter expired. But you don't even know right now.
Don't wait.
You can't even tell if a meter's expired right now because I do it on my phone. You could have a ticket, but I do it on my phone. I don't have a ticket.
Yeah, and they have the muni meters, and it's very confusing.
Well, you know, it's amazing. You go into some of these antiquated towns and they still expect you to put change in a meter. I stopped carrying cash, you know. If they don't have the slot to put your credit card in, I'm not paying, you know.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Days of carrying quarters, we don't need them.
Yeah, come on. That's ridiculous.
I know. The world is changing.
Do you have a whole posse of people that you get elected? You're going to have them with you?
Oh, absolutely.
Positions?
Absolutely. Like I said, a lot of good people, a lot of qualified, highly respected people. I've already got the agencies that they're going to be running, and that's really the job of a mayor: is pick good people, surround yourself with good people, and let them do their job. Share the same vision, share the same views, but let them do their job.
Hey, it's like the police department. I mean, when a CEO gets a command, he wants to bring his people with him, right?
Of course.
Yeah, don't forget what I told you. I know it's going to be tough. It's not an easy thing to do to produce content, but you're going to have to create a website, an IG page. You got your Facebook already. You got to do TikTok. You got to do them all. You got to tweet, and you got to, you got to give them content, and just doing that because the word gets out. And if you have to in the beginning a little bit and do that boost thing where you're boosting your word out to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yep. There's going to be some expenditure. If I was going to waste any money, I would spend it on social media, because you want to get New Yorkers to know who you are as the race is building up. So it's not a surprise who you are.
Right.
Start it from now.
Right.
You got to.
You could use social media manager. You could use Zoom pretty effectively too. You know how to use Zoom.
Sure, of course you can. Yeah, we've done a lot of Zoom things so far. Yes.
You know, if you do like I don't know if it's possible to do a Zoom town hall. You know what I'm saying? Where you prepare like 45 minutes of stuff that it's either wrong. How are you gonna fix it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And just that's good. That's further down the line, but just keep talking to the people, man.
Yeah, that's what we're doing every day.
Let them get to know who you are.
Community boards and meet Bill Pepitone tonight and pick 10 people from that board and they can ask you questions.
Yeah,
sure, absolutely, of course. That's what we're doing. We're setting up those events. We've been out every weekend, weeknights, talking to people, meeting people. Every borough. We've been in every borough so far. So it's going to fly right now. So we're ready. We're ready to hit the ground running.
All right, man. I'm excited about the campaign, man. And you're more than welcome to come back whenever you want.
Oh, I appreciate it.
We have we got our share of viewers and listeners, sure. And we're gonna do whatever we can to help you.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much.
Bill, you have any final words you want to say to our millions of viewers out there in TV land?
Yes, absolutely. Listen, New York City's on the brink right now. We're looking at the city being unrecognizable in a couple of years if we continue to follow this path. So we need new leadership. We need new direction, new ideas, but really we need somebody that really cares about New York and City Hall. And that's what our campaign's about. It's about bringing respectability back to the city. It's about bringing public safety back, bringing our businesses back, getting our children in school, and just getting the heart of New York City beating again. That's what our campaign's about. Good, man. You have an opportunity right now because you can use what's going on right now to your benefit. Even if you did a point, counterpoint, you don't want to highlight their videos too much. You show them the highlight of it, and then go, Cuomo said this, or DeBlasio said that. This is why it's wrong. This is what I would do. And because they're going to constantly keep screwing up. So this is your opportunity to show what you would do. This is why it's wrong. This is what I would do. Exactly. And, yeah, man. I'm excited. Good. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for coming on with us. Listen, it's been a pleasure and an honor. Thank you. And like I said, as it builds up, you want to come back on? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let us know.
Whenever you want to come back,
Absolutely.
Bill, you just hit us up. You're welcome.
All right, buddy.
Come on.
Thank you, guys. Be safe.
Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
You
Good
too.
night, everyone.
Good night.